In the mysterious world of Port Charles and beyond, a storm is brewing across the Adriatic Sea, one that links secrets long buried, identities long presumed gone, and the relentless pursuit of truth. As the narrative threads from General Hospital unravel, a surprising twist begins to emerge involving Josslyn, Britt, and the covert underworld of the WSB. When Josslyn Jax accepted the dangerous assignment to go undercover in Croatia, she never expected to stumble upon a ghost from her past, one whose reappearance could shatter more than just a secret mission. The world thought Britt Westbourne died tragically in her mother's arms. But in the shadowed corners of the Five Poppies Resort, Joss is about to learn that death is never final in Port Charles, and neither are betrayals. Josslyn's mission had started off as nothing more than a cover operation under the strict directives of Jack Brennan. Assigned to work alongside Vaughn, her handler and now fake husband, Joss entered the assignment reluctantly but professionally, posing as a newlywed environmental physicist on a research retreat. Their honeymoon was a meticulously constructed facade meant to allow them unrestricted access to the Five Poppies Resort, a luxurious coastal facility with deep connections to shadow operations and suspicious pharmaceutical developments. The goal: identify the rogue scientists leaking classified medical data and determine if Professor Henry Dalton's environmental research masked something far more sinister. But it's what Joss discovers off the record that becomes the real story. In the middle of their stay, during what was meant to be a routine romantic dinner to solidify their cover, Joss spotted someone who made her blood run cold. Across the restaurant, sipping wine at a candlelit table, sat a woman she recognized, a woman the world had mourned. Britt Westbourne. The same Britt who had supposedly died in her mother Liesel's arms while being a target of the hook killer. The same Britt whose illness, Huntington's disease, had driven her into secrecy, emotional isolation, and eventual disappearance. The moment was surreal. For a split second, Joss questioned her own memory. But the woman's expression, posture, and subtle elegance were unmistakable. And while Vaughn continued playing his role, Joss's mind was racing, reconstructing timelines, analyzing possibilities. How was Britt still alive? Had she faked her death to escape her condition? Had someone helped her disappear, and if so, why? The mission had just gotten personal. It didn't take long before Joss orchestrated a reason to separate herself from Vaughn and tail Britt discreetly through the winding, marble corridors of the resort. Eventually, cornering her in a secluded hallway near the spa entrance, Joss called her by name. Britt froze. For a long moment, nothing was said. Then the dam broke, not in the form of a reunion, but in a cautious negotiation. Britt warned Joss to forget she ever saw her. Joss, headstrong as ever, refused to back down. The questions poured out. Why fake her death? Who was she working for? Was this about the Huntingtons? Britt didn't confirm much. But she didn't deny the most critical piece. Yes, she had staged her death, and yes, she was working for someone powerful enough to keep her hidden. Joss agreed to keep her mouth shut, for now. But only under the condition that Britt kept hers shut too. After all, Joss's presence in Croatia wasn't exactly vacation material. If Britt exposed Joss's real identity or her connection to the WSB, she could blow the entire mission and put both Joss and Vaughn in lethal danger. But Britt wasn't merely playing fugitive. There was more to her survival than desperation or medical decline. She was working deep undercover, possibly under duress. And she had information. The brief conversation hinted at blackmail, experimental drugs, and a figure lurking in the background who could be orchestrating everything. That figure, Britt hinted, might have ties to Jason Morgan, who, as it turns out, had already been investigating leads suggesting that Britt was alive. Jason's pursuit of the truth wasn't born solely from his sense of justice. He had history with Britt. And he had once seen something that didn't fit the narrative. A brief glimpse, a passing figure in Europe that resembled Britt too much to be coincidence. Jason had followed that thread, despite the lack of support, despite knowing how dangerous it could be. He had pieced together small hints from former DVX associates and medical staff who swore they saw someone resembling Britt moving between research compounds. And now, as Joss begins to uncover her own piece of the puzzle, the two narratives are about to converge. What Britt hinted at during her conversation with Joss was chilling. The drug she had injected herself with, rumored to slow down the progression of Huntington's, wasn't publicly available. It hadn't even been approved. Which begged the question, where did it come from? And what did she have to give up in return for that dose of temporary salvation? The answer may lie in Professor Dalton's lab. Dalton, though a publicly acclaimed environmental physicist, had connections to off-the-books pharmaceutical research. In his younger years, he collaborated with biogeneticists under the Cassadine umbrella. More than one source has connected Dalton to failed human enhancement trials, and while no formal link has been made between Dalton and Britt, the overlapping timelines and geography raise flags. If Britt's drug originated from Dalton's lab, or from someone connected to him, then it explained why she would resurface in Croatia. It also explained why she was so insistent on keeping her cover intact. Someone was watching. Someone powerful. And someone had promised her survival at a price. Among the most shocking theories floating in the shadows is the idea that Victor Cassadine might still be alive, and pulling strings. While Victor was presumed dead after the explosion aboard the haunted star, those familiar with Cassadine trickery know better than to trust a death with no body. Victor once held Liesel Albrecht hostage. He had access to medical research far beyond the standard ethical boundaries. And he had a reason to keep Britt alive, either as leverage, as a test subject, or as a tool for a larger agenda. If Victor is indeed alive, then Britt's return is just the beginning. Her survival isn't a miracle, it's a clue. Back in Port Charles, Jason is growing more certain that Britt never truly died. His efforts to uncover the truth are accelerating, especially after hearing rumors that a woman resembling Britt was spotted at a medical facility on the Dalmatian coast. What he doesn't yet know is that Joss has seen her with her own eyes. And Joss is now carrying a burden, one that could compromise both her mission and her safety. What Joss doesn't realize yet is that Vaughn might also be compromised. The more time she spends undercover, the more she notices inconsistencies in his communication. Odd silences. Disappearing for hours. A private call he took while pretending to be in the hotel sauna. Could Vaughn be working both sides? Is he feeding information to Brennan, or worse, to someone else? As the danger mounts, the collision between Britt and Joss becomes inevitable. Their secret meeting was just the beginning. Sooner or later, one of them will be forced to break silence. And when they do, the fallout could reverberate from Croatia back to Port Charles, toppling secrets that have been held far too long. For now, Joss must play a dangerous game of dual identities, both as Vaughn's new bride and as a silent witness to Britt's impossible survival. But in the shadows of the 5 poppies, secrets don't stay buried long. And the truth always finds its way to the surface, even if it destroys everything in its path.